Hey guys, it's your best fight friends. I'm Rachel. That's Kelsey. And today, we're going to talk about Roy Jones Jr.
Let's talk about how y'all must have forgot Triller. Y'all must have forgot most of the world, right? Roy Jones is the best fighter I've ever seen. So when I got to write about that being the case for Bleacher Report, obviously I went too far. What?
If you followed, Mike Tyson comeback and then they settled on Roy Jones accepted, and then what has kind of happened with that is that clearly Roy Jones is being billed as the B-side. Furthermore, they changed the date of the fight without talking to Roy Jones. Then they changed the format of the fight also without him being aware, or
they keep changing it. It's always changing.
Right. So first of all, moving the date, making it further out. So instead of September, now it's in November. And I heard Roy Jones interviewed on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he was like, you know what? That helps Mike Tyson, not me. When he said yes to the fight, it was like, it's going to be in 6 weeks. And he was like, 6 weeks? I can do this. I'm in shape. I've been, he hasn't been an active fighter in the last 2 years, I think. Yeah. But he trains a lot of guys. And he was like, but now Mike's got longer to train. And then if you think about 2-minute rounds, clearly favors a guy like Mike Tyson over Roy Jones. Roy Jones is, he's going to have to get in there and be a little more skillful, be a little more evasive, get something going, whereas most people think of Mike Tyson going to be able to go in there and kind of be Mike Tyson. Yeah. And to do that in 2 minutes, it's harder for somebody to really get a strategy and a rhythm going in just 2 minutes. And we often see this in women's boxing. Yeah. 2 minutes goes fast. It's a lot shorter than 3.
Katie Taylor fights Delphine Pursoon, that fight is so competitive because there's not that extra minute on the round, right? And Katie Taylor's a great boxer, but the shortened round gives the person that throws, if you just can keep up throwing punches, you have a shot to win rounds, and she did that. So the idea is that Tyson has the same against Roy Jones. However, what I'm here to remind you, world, about is fine. I wouldn't disagree that in a Mike Tyson fight, Roy Jones is the B-side. That just has to do with who's more popular. But it's a B-side the way that Pacquiao was a B-side against Mayweather, right? Yeah. Roy Jones Jr. is the best fighter of his era. He was the Boxing Writers Association of America Fighter of the Decade for the 90s. The decade of the 90s, which included Tyson, Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, Oscar De La Hoya. All sorts of great fighters fought in the 1990s. Yeah. The next 2 decades went to Pacquiao and Mayweather. So that shows you what kind of great fighter Roy Jones was in his prime and how he deserves more than he's getting. And the new Triller video, the promotional video they dropped, takes him a good half a minute, 30 seconds. 30 seconds to get to that Roy Jones Jr. is headed back to a boxing ring. I can't wait to see Roy. Roy's pissed when I was talking to him.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that because Roy, some few weeks ago, I hear him talk about this alter ego, RJ, who when he's angry, this other side of him comes out. And here's the thing that I found really fascinating is he doesn't like it. This isn't some people talk about alter egos and how they
it's an Incredible Hulk situation.
Yeah, how they depend on them. That's how they perform. That's how they do whatever. No, Roy Jones doesn't like RJ.
He's you wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
He's not. He doesn't find RJ admirable. It's not the kind of person that he strives to be in life. But sometimes people just keep pushing, and RJ comes out. And we got the sense, right, when we saw Roy on the public press conference, right, that he was a little chippy.
And then he was chippy. I noticed he was still chippy. I talked to him a couple hours after.
Mike seemed sleepy.
And
Roy seemed chippy.
He was still chippy.
Yeah.
So chippy that he remembered that I'd asked him a question that he got chippy about. And I was like, that's weird, because he doesn't, for all I know, he doesn't know who I am.
Yeah.
I'm just a person. So that's how chippy. So,
tell our best fight friends.
Well, I asked him.
What question did you ask Roy?
On a scale of 1 to the Montell Griffin rematch, how pissed are you? And he was like, I'm super pissed. He kind of went into all those reasons why, which Rachel already talked about a lot of them. And I'll say this. The Montell Griffin rematch is a great example of RJ. The previous fight, 5 months 4 against the same fighter, Roy Jones went 9 rounds with him. Got disqualified when he hit the fighter, had taken a knee, and Roy hit him, and they disqualified Roy. So Roy was pissed about that. Months later, immediate rematch. RJ shows up at the ring, knocks him down within the first 20, 30 seconds, finishes him in, I think, a minute 51 or 151 seconds. Whatever it is, it was fast, first round knockout. I don't know. I'm saying that Roy Jones Jr. has a lot better chance than most people out there I see talking about the fight on social media to beat Mike Tyson, because Roy Jones Jr. at his best was an all-time great fighter, and he's fought like a ton of times in the last 10 years, right? If you compare what they've done in a boxing ring, I wouldn't want any kind of version of Roy Jones Jr. in a boxing ring. If I was a retired fighter who hadn't fought in a long time, I damn sure wouldn't want that's pissed off at me. So I can't wait to see this fight. Y'all must have forgot. I didn't forget, and Rachel didn't forget.
Hey, don't forget about us. Make sure you subscribe, and then you'll never forget about Real Talk with Kelsey and Rachel.